How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Tonight we're doing some Earthbound corruptions with the real-time corruptor version 3.28. We'll get started in about a minute here. I'm just gonna get myself some water and we'll get rolling. It's very dramatic music to come to. This is from Earthbound, just a number of songs from it. I'm gonna lower that. Every once in a while my YouTube crashes and I actually can't stop the video, so I have to force close the browser, which is what I'm doing now. Anyways, hello everyone. So if you're unfamiliar with how I do corruptions on stream, you'll see a bunch of windows off to the right side there. I'll explain what all of those do once we get started, but I usually corrupt video games on stream, and I haven't done Earthbound yet. I played Mother 1 and 2, and I've never actually played... I'm sorry, I've done Mother 1 and 2, I've never actually played Earthbound, so this is my first time playing it and corrupting it, so hopefully that won't be too bad. I played through the intro, which is usually the area that I've been corrupting, so I don't think it'll be an issue. Anyways, without further ado, we're gonna get started here. And I know I would have corrupted the intro cinematic, so we'll stop somewhere around there. We got the attack the Gygas. Door against the Gygas. Fiddle with the emulator. Earthbound. And we'll quickly go through. I have that file that I did to just test stuff out. We'll make another one. I'm gonna go with all the basic settings anyways. Fast attack speed, stereo, mint. Yeah, we'll just go with all the basic names. King the dog. It's an awesome dog name. I like pasta. Cool. Looks good to me. Wow. And right here is I'm going to prepare a save state. Right for when we load in. So this is where we're going to begin corrupting, and if you're unfamiliar with how I do streams, I usually I go over one corruption, how do I do things just off the bat, I explain everything I'm doing, and then from there we'll just make a whole bunch of corruptions in the stockpile. So with this intro one, I want to play around with the dials that we have available to us. So if you look at the top right, we're currently using the Nightmare engine, which is just a corruption engine available to us that replaces data at a random number of source addresses based on the intensity of the corruption. That intensity is adjusted by this slider here. And we have a couple of memory domains that we can choose to corrupt at. Depending on what the memory domain is and what's being held in that, it will affect what sort of corruption we have on our hands. For example, if I just corrupt VRAM, which is the visuals that are being drawn to the screen, and I load the game at that save state, like this, and just manually corrupt it a couple times, we'll just see all the visuals on the screen being corrupted. And this is actually a very safe corruption to do. You won't actually break anything by affecting the visuals, but you sort of just get a clown vomit look to it, because if you just do it a lot like that, it kind of breaks everything, and you can keep doing it in that fashion. But again, no game mechanics are actually being broken here, so usually you won't crash the game just by corrupting the visuals. Like that. Next up we have, I'm going to test out all the memory domains we have available to us. If you'll excuse me, I'm coming over a bit of a cold. Next up we have WRAM, which I have no clue how it's going to function on this, but we'll try blasting it a couple times. Here's our first try. Let me make a manual save state too, just so we can quickly go through this. So we're going through just a couple corruptions here and there, creating some flicker effects, some lines across the screen. A little bit of clown vomit. That was a good one, whatever that was. So was that one. Except it crashes. So we get kind of an idea of what we're going to see when we corrupt WRAM. It's going to be a lot of visuals and probably a lot of crashes depending on how high the intensity is. Next we're going to try CartROM, which I think we have to do a lower intensity. Oh, it's also, it's one of those ones where if we corrupt it, we actually have to reboot the core before we can return back to our safe state. So we're not going to mess with CartROM yet. That'll be one of our last ones that we start messing around with. Next we have CartRAM, which may have no effect. It actually doesn't look like it is. I'm blasting it with a fairly high intensity every single second. I'm not seeing anything, so we won't mess with CartRAM. We've already seen video RAM. You're seeing it now on the screen. And that leaves us just with OAM, which are usually object files like sprites, so we may not actually see any effect with that until we actually get in the game or see a character sprite. These are all static objects. But I'll make a second save state once we see NES. Now let the little cinematic play here for a second. Loud crash, what could it be? Okay, so here we have NES. We're gonna make another save state just for this. So now if we load that save state, we'll be in the spot every single time. And I want to see, we're corrupting OAM, which is the object memory domain, or at least a predefined one. And we're not seeing anything happen on screen. Usually if sprites are being stored there, you'll see a little bit of flickering from the sprite, and we're not even seeing that, so we may not at least have the sprites stored in this fashion. It'll be probably stored somewhere else out of the ordinary. So we can't mess with that. CG RAM should probably be the palette. Yep, that's the palette. So we can just mess with how everything's colored. We'll usually apply this effect after we have something that, like say a mechanical corruption that needs some visuals to it. We'll add this after the fact. But still cool to see the visuals. If specifically we wanted to like get NES's coloration, we could break down this corruption to a single memory rights and find out what is causing its coloration to turn purple like that and keep a single memory address. That'd be something if we were making a hybrid corruption, which we may not be doing today, but it's good to keep in mind. And then AP RAM is going to be the sound, so we're going to keep it a little bit low. I already have the audio pretty low for the stream in terms of the game, just because when we corrupt, we sometimes get some screeches. I also do have a compressor on the stream, so you won't hear too loud of peaks, but I will, because I like hearing the awful, gut-wrenching sounds that corruptions make. But let's see. Nope, it just kills the audio. easy enough. We are corrupting it with 8,000 bytes, I think, in this case, since it's a NES ROM. Anyways, a very high intensity corruption. Play the drums. If we do a very low intensity, we should be able to see if we could just corrupt some sounds. You have a little bit of pitter patter. I'm going to switch to Help Genie Engine, which works like Cheat Engine. It makes permanent changes for a short time. Here we get a little bit of flickering. That's about the extent of it. Usually we get that with El Genie, it's like a repeated sound over and over again. But I don't think we're getting anything outside of that little like crackle that we're getting. Trying to see if we have a higher intensity, if it would help out at all. I don't think that's the case. So APU RAM, it's usually helpful if like there's a short segment of music that we can corrupt that we can do at a very short time span. This one, we actually don't have any music in the introduction. We will have a little bit later after we do the whole meteorite business, but at the moment we don't have much. And lastly, another not rewind safe or not safe memory domain to mess with is System Bus. We can try messing with that. That sounded creepy. And we'll definitely be messing with System Bus a little bit. Like we see some amazing stuff off the bat already. Good coloration. Flickers, breaking images, images being drawn twice, rendering all kinds of good stuff. And I'm quickly moving through this at the moment, so later we're going to break it down, we're going to see these corruptions in fruition and play the game with the corruptions applied a little bit. I'm just doing a general overview to get an idea ahead of time of what I'm able to corrupt and what I'm not. And that will help me when I'm building the stash and going through all this. So we have an idea of what we can do so far. Starting off, we know we can do WRAM. We're going to get some visuals with that. Cart ROM we're not going to mess with, and now we're going to do that very towards the end of the stream since they take a lot longer to make corruptions for it. But that is a possibility. Cart RAM, we didn't have any effect. Either the cartridge RAM isn't being used or isn't being used in a fashion that the corruptor is corrupting it. VRAM we usually don't apply at all because we don't want a bunch of, essentially it is cloud vomit. It's a bunch of just stuff on the screen that hides the actual corruption underneath. And you wouldn't want to hide a corruption because it's something interesting that's going on. Something I actually hadn't considered, so let's actually load into a NES. So I'm going to load this save state here. I'm curious if Cart RAM will mess with his movements at all, or maybe loading into the next area. Nope, okay. I just want to make sure that that wasn't, because it is RAM, so it's like temporary storage, but I wasn't sure if it would affect that. Anyways. OEM has no effect, we won't be messing with that. CG RAM is the palettes. While we will be messing with it, we won't be messing with a lot. Like, this is all it will ever be, is just a small little visual corruption. Not too interesting. APU RAM, I don't think we're going to mess with that. It's just the audio, and immediately you hear the audio actually breaking there. If we go back, we try really low intensity just to try to get the ambience, like 5. Listening for subtle changes. Not hearing anything. Yeah. It's better if we had music, so we would have to probably move on and hear some music in order to really utilize that to the best of our ability. Anyways. Ooh. And System Bus we're absolutely going to use. We saw immediate effects with that. We saw immediate effects with only an intensity of 5. We immediately saw a result. So that bodes well for future corruptions. Takes a couple tries, but eventually we get somewhere. There you go. There's the magic. Alright. So where do we go from here? We're going to use this scene. This is going to be our intro scene. This is where I want to begin corrupting. sneeze on stream, so I'm muting my mic temporarily. We're gonna load it from here, and we're gonna mess around with some memory domains, and we're gonna find something that we like. Either we like looking at, or we like hearing, or we like seeing, something like that. I said seeing and looking, but. So we're gonna start off by using the glitch harvester, which is how we're going to sort of harness our corruption together and store it in a stockpile. In order to utilize that, you can't see it on screen, but I have a save state selected as sort of like the on-deck save state that we're going to be messing with. And that's, as you know, the scene here. Up at the top, I'm going to mess around with these parameters. So we're going to start messing with WRAM to start off with. I'm going to make sure the intensity is somewhere that's pretty high, because you only get like one shot to shoot the save state with a corruption, essentially, without being too technical. I was gonna say with a blast layer and a bunch of units. We only have one chance to shoot a corruption at it, and then that's it, and that's the save state that's running. So we need a fairly high corruption since we only get to use it once, as opposed to just manually corrupting as we go in real time. So I think 710, with a manual blast now, that's not really doing much. This is the whole Genie engine. Let me switch over to the Nightmare engine. That would definitely help. Some of these are good, some of these are bad. We'll start off with 710 and we'll adjust it as we go. Yeah. So I think everything is set, yeah. When I hit this blast send button, you'll notice that in the stats history we just got a bunch of numbers. And that's just a brand new save state. If we click on it, we'll load that save state. And you'll notice when we load this one that these visuals up at, am I capturing my cursor or not? Some visuals on screen are actually corrupting every single time we load that. And that's because we have a blast layer or a corruption applied to that save state. And say we wanted this just as is, we could throw out our stockpile and call it test 1. And now in the stockpile, you'll see there's a test 1 sort of button row thing here. You can click on that and again load the same save state, and that's how we're going to create our corruptions. That's how we're going to label them, and if we want, we can even add notes to them and say, ooh, this is a note. That's a corruption. Even though it's not that good of a one, it's not very interesting, it is still one. So we're going to delete that since I don't want that one, and we're going to do that a couple times until we find something that we like looking at. So we have some graphical glitches here and there, not too interesting. This one just freezes. I like to avoid one that crashes right away. That's not a bad one. Also, from that, I just noticed that it was flashing. Forewarning, if you are sensitive to bright lights or flashing lights or loud sounds, I warn you not to watch the stream, just as a precaution. With corruptions, we have a lot of flashing lights going all around, and unfortunately it's uncontrollable, so as a safety precaution, remove yourself if you are sensitive to that type of material. With this, I'm going to put maybe and throw it on the stockpile, because I'm not sure if I want to corrupt that and spend the time sanitizing it. We'll go over that later. That's kind of just a maybe one. Alright, we'll move on. Do some more. I'm gonna up, yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna up the intensity. Let's up it to 1,000. That was just straight up crashed. Sometimes these crashes can be interesting because then the title screen will really be messed up. We'll see if that's the case for this one. No, this all looks normal. Okay. Looks like we might corrupt our save data though. So that's funny. Or never saved. Let's try again. Yeah. The flashing effect was cool, but Didn't last very long. Sad dude. No, that's kind of cool. I like that. I wish we could expand it, and we're going to. I don't even know what's happening anymore. Where is it taking us? There's a lot of sounds going on. Let's save this one. This one's actually kind of a neat corruption that I would want to save, even as a first one. So, how do we begin with this? We have this one in our stash history at the very bottom here. And if we right-click that, we can open that in something called our Blast Editor. And actually just finished writing a tutorial for the Blast Editor. It's a fantastic tool for brand new corruptors, people that corrupt, brand new people that are into the corrupting game, to sanitize their corruptions. And I advocate for sanitization. That sounds awful. I advocate for sanitizing your corruptions, sanitize them whenever possible. It's highly important. It improves the stability of the corruption. It allows for rerollability. Oh, that's a nice one. Sounds like we want something. It's just a good idea. And I'll show you what that is. So if we look up here at the top right, remember our intensity was 1000, and that means that we have 1000 memory writes. Since this is an SNES console, it depends on the console, the data types, and all that. So if we scroll through here, oh, we have music now. I wonder if we can corrupt it. Let me try that. APU RAM. We did. Did we reset that? Why did we reset that? That's weird. Maybe it just looped. Oh, don't do that. Don't resize that window. There we go. Anyways. Where was I? So 1000 memory writes is where we're at. We have 1000 here. And all of these culminate into what we're seeing on screen right now. Every single one is written to memory, and it causes some kind of effect. Now, I can guarantee that at least 5 of these actually create the effect we're looking for, where that screen sort of juts off to the left and we hear the sounds going off. And the rest of that 995 are just useless garbage memory writes that don't need to be there. So what we could do, if you see off to the far left of some of these, there's a little check mark, and that enables or disables the memory writes. So what we want to do is we want to disable the ones that we don't actually need and load the corruption again. Now see when I do that, nothing really looks like it's changed at all, and we've only deselected like 8 of them. So we still have 992 to go or so. That would take forever, and we don't want to do that. Instead, we're going to use this random disable 50% button here. Nope, you can't see that. What in the world is going on my screen? Up here. Oh, there's 2 mice. Because I'm writing over something. Well, anyways, up at the top there. Random disable 50%, which will 50%, it will disable 50% out of the blast layer. So there's only 500 now selected. And we can load the corruption again. In this case, we still see the effect we're looking for is like happening on screen, so we're still doing okay. We didn't accidentally disable our corruption. In which case, we can click this remove disabled button. And now our blast layer size, or the amount of memory writes that we're sending to the ROM, is now 500, which is much better. And we're going to continue in that fashion. We're going to still reduce the size. And this is kind of cool too. Let's see if this persists, after the loading screen. I'm curious if it does. It doesn't. Okay. So I'm going to send this on the stash because I kind of want to keep that effect, and I'm going to do some magic tricks to it, but we'll deal with that later. So I'm going to throw it on the stash. You can see it kind of down there. I'm going to say for testing later. And we'll test that out later. Don't worry about it now. Now, the one we're still working on, we're going to... This did not have the effect we're looking for because it doesn't go off screen. So we're gonna re-roll again. Still doesn't have the effect we're looking for. It appears that we actually have a hybrid corruption because on 150%, this first 50%, we have this sort of screen tearing thing going on. And in this other 50%, we have the camera jutting off to the left and doing this weird thing. Those two together create the corruption that we're seeing on screen, and we want to try to keep both of those corruptions together if we can. So we're gonna re-roll the corruption in order to try to get both of those in the same 50%, which I think we've actually done here, where the first 50% doesn't have either of them, but the latter half has both of them. So we did correct on that. And we're gonna continue in that fashion once again. We see one but not the other. We see neither, so it should be in the other half. It is. One but not the other. One but not the other. One but not the other. Usually with these hybrid corruptions where there's like 2 or 3 that you have to keep track of, it can take a while re-rolling the 50% until you get the one that you just need. Right now we're down to 32 memory writes, so we're starting to break it down. Down to 16. Down to 8. At this point, we could probably manually go through and just enable or disable some of these. Like, of these 4, we know one of these is creating the visual thing that we're seeing, so let's try to disable 2 of them. Is it this one? It was that one. So I'm going to lock that one by clicking on this lock symbol. So now when I randomly disable 50%, that one will never be selected in that 50%. Or it will never be deselected, I should say. So we don't have to worry about that one getting deselected. We don't have to worry about losing it. We just have to find the other one. And there's the other one. So now we have 2 memory writes, can't exist without each other, and those 2 create the effect we're looking for, and it's what I actually want to keep to throw on the stockpile. So I'm going to send that to the stash by clicking on this button down here. Now it's on stash, I'm going to click on a button to throw it onto our stockpile, and we'll call this, how about Fever Dream? Yeah, I'm happy with that. And we're going to put a note on this corruption. It's going to say, the rolled fates away. Wait a few moments to hear the sound of no, not accomplishment. The sound of nothingness. The sound of, what would you call that? Randomness? Yeah. Also, it sounds like the sound stopped, unfortunately. I wanted that to keep going. I'm going to use Turbo to see if it does. No, it just stops. So you know it's not that interesting, the corruption, because it stops, unfortunately. If it kept going, that's awesome, because then, you know, people can have fun with it. They're like, oh, what is that weird sound that's going on? It disappoints me and it stops. But it's not bad for a first corruption. And I'm going to put that in the note too. It's a first corruption of the evening, because usually those are a little bit easier. Oh, it crashed! That was the breaking glass sound you heard. That's weird. Still note that this is a first corruption. Let me load it again and make sure that doesn't happen again. We're gonna tap through it all. Sounds. Music. Yeah, it sounds fun. I don't know how far we were. Yeah, there's music. We're good. Maybe we just had a weird problem there. So now that we have a sanitized corruption, one that is like in its perfect and most ultimate form with these 2 memory writes, we can start messing around with these memory writes. And actually, remember this one we had in the stash history called For Testing Later? This had one of those effects. It had this sort of glitter effect. So we can even delete this one. We don't need it on the stockpile. So we're just going to clear our history. There's 0 in the stockpile now. And we're going to start messing around with Fever Dream and the effects it has. Starting off with, I don't want to mess with this effect. I want to mess with the other one. This is the effect I like. And it can be difficult to... It can be difficult just to like pull these 2 memory writes apart without just writing to another save state. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly write down this data. It sets in WRAM to CF6 the value 3E on my second computer. And I'm just going to create a dummy corruption of like size 1. Oh, it sets it also, where does it set it? It sets it to WRAM? Yeah. So now I'm going to hit the game with this. I need to hit WRAM though, so I'm going to just select WRAM. Make sure we're just getting that memory domain. Don't resize that. Keep that the same size. There we go. Okay, now we have one in the stash history. Sorry, I have too many windows on my screen. I miss having monitors. I had 4 monitors back home, and now I'm down to 1 in school. It's too little for me. So now we have a single one in our stash history. We're going to open that in our blast editor. And this is a dummy just because it has that one memory line and nothing else. We don't have to worry about opening the blast layer generator, which I'm bad at, and generating a blast layer to apply to a save state. We just made a dummy one, make it a lot easier on ourselves. And in this new one, we're going to write over that data that we just had. So we're setting WRAM at the source address. What is the source address? CF6. The parameter value of 3. And load that new corruption. That was the other half. Oops. Let me do this again. So Fever Dream. Did I get the wrong one? Yes, I did. Shoot. Alright, let's get this other one. So we're setting WRAM 1F28. Cool. And opening the dummy one. And we're setting value of 1F and 28. Yeah. So load this one. It crashed again. That's worrisome. I don't know why it crashes. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay, it was just paused for some reason. Anyways, this is the effect we're looking for. We're good to go on that. Now comes the fun part. So, you might wonder, like I do, what happens to source address 1F? Why is this effect being applied? Why do we have, like, glitter all over the screen? Can we have permanent glitter on the screen where we have it on every scene? What happens if we change the value we send to memory? Because right now we're just writing the value of 28. What does 28 mean? I don't know. Let's mess around with that stuff. So right now I like it in this state. I'm going to send this to the stash and throw it on the stockpile, and we'll call it Corruption Rain, Corrupted Rain. Oh, that makes me want to play Heavy Rain. Corrupted Rain. It reminds me of like a heat wave, like heat haze kind of thing. But we'll call it Corrupted Rain. Corrupted Heat. I'm bad at naming these. We'll call that good for now. Anyways. So, open this in the blast editor, and the first thing we're going to mess with is the parameter value. What happens if we don't send 28 to memory? What happens if we overwrite it with the value FF, like a maximum value? And when we do that, it doesn't seem anything else happens. We can try writing the value of 0, and that actually cleans up the effects. How about a value of 1? 1 is also okay, surprisingly. Value of F. F is still fine. How about the F1, I guess, would be the next one up. So it seems like it's some kind of overflow going on. So as long as it's within 16 bits, is that the right one? As long as it's within hexadecimal 0 to F, no problem. And as soon as you get to anything larger than that, you get some sort of overflow graphical bug thing that causes this effect. And that's why we saw when we did FF, it was no problem. I don't think you can go above, yeah, you can go above FF, which is 16 plus, what would that be? Oh, it's been a while since I messed with hexadecimal. I'm in college right now, I should know this for computer science. Oh well. Anyways, can't go above FF. Cool. So now, what else do we mess with? We could load the corruption with this. All okay. We'll leave it as FF. Doesn't really matter. We're now going to tilt the source address by 1. So, can you see that on screen? You can. So over here, I'm shifting selected row, source address by value of 1, just to shift it over 1. That had an interesting effect. So 1 above this causes the screen to go black, and 1 below this actually has no effect. What happens if we do 21? Or 2-1, I should say. This is in hexadecimal. And 2-2 is fine. 2-3 is fine. So all these are fine. It's only really 1F we get this kind of interesting glitter effect to the screen. Now, I forget the values for this. I think we want an RTC blast cheat type. We want this to be a permanent effect. And normally we utilize something called the Hell Genie Corruption Engine, which makes things a lot easier, and I don't have to explain what it all does, but I'm going to anyways. Right now we're using the Nightmare Engine, as you can see up here at the top. We also have a bunch of other engines like the Hell Genie Engine, the Distortion Engine, Freeze Engine, Pipe Engine, Vector Engine, a bunch of other stuff. But we're just going to be using the Hell Genie, which works very similar to Cheat Engine, and actually, underneath the hood it really is Cheat Engine, where you set a value in memory and you force that memory to state that value indefinitely. So every time that value tries to change, like say you set your money in a game to be 500 and it was 0, it tries to return back to 0, and Cheat Engine's like, no, go back to 500. And it does that every single step of the emulation loop, so sometimes it can be a little intensive to do if it has like 50 memory writes that it has to keep track of every single step. But in this case, we're just doing one memory write since we have already sanitized it. And again, we're going to do a dummy corruption because it's a lot easier for me. So blast send, dummy corruption, and I just need to copy this information down. So it's still a blast cheat type. Yeah, let me copy that down. So RTC dot blast cheat, and it's a Hell Genie. GWRAM. Don't worry about the rest of the information. Cool. And that's what we're going to adjust on Corrupted Rain. I need to copy down some information. Let's take blast cheats. And what it does instead, oh, it automatically sets. Hey, that's awesome. Sets it to Hell Genie for me, and now we can try loading this corruption, and let's see if this sparkle effect is indefinite. Like I'm hoping it is. Would be on these loading screens, but I'm hoping afterwards. Look at that! Woo! We got indefinite sparkles. So, I hope for the entire game you could actually play it and it has this sort of glitter effect on screen. That's cool, I'm happy with that. So we're going to send that to the stash. And this is like the one I actually like. This is the effect I'm looking for. So we're going to throw this on the actual stockpile as is. And we're going to call this, it's not really glitter. How about indefinite? How do you spell indefinite? Indefinite. Awful spelling. Indefinite EAs. And Corrupted Rain, we're not going to keep that since that's a primitive version of indefinite heat haze. And Fever Dream, we're still messing with a little bit. So this is still that judder effect. I don't think I could be any happier with indefinite heat haze. I don't think I can. Because what else we could change on that? We messed with the source address. Changing the source domain won't do anything because, you know, this only applies to WRAM and this effect only exists within WRAM. If you switch to a different domain, you'd be messing with some other type of data, so that won't do anything. We can try... There's also, instead of RTC blast cheat, there's also RTC blast pipe, but for that we would need a parameter domain, and you'd be switching two domains, and that wouldn't really have any effect for us since we already know that setting a value of FF or any value over F itself. Also, this will help me. Let's just real quick set this to F. This is 16. Increment it by 1. 1, 0. That is 17. Right? No, F is 15, isn't it? Okay, now I need a chart. Hexadecimal chart, because even though I'm in my junior year, I still don't know it. F is 15. Awesome. So, 1, 0, and 16. I don't know how many times I've said that wrong on the stream. And we have 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So what's FF? That's like a lot. Now I have to convert it. FF to decimal. 255. Cool, okay. It's 255. Awesome. So we have our corruption. Do we want to keep maybe? I still don't know. I kind of like the buzzing sound going in the background. Let's keep working with Fever Dream first. We'll note for indefinite heat haze that this is a Help Genie corruption heat haze effect. Should be indefinite. And something else we actually didn't test with this. Let's see if indefinite heat haze lasts all the way to Nest getting out of bed. Because I'm curious if it's just the interest in Matic or if it also is gameplay. And I don't believe I can skip any of this, so we actually have to go to Nest's house. So we'll take a sec for that. Oh, Nets heat haze. Oh, Nets heat haze. Cool. It does. Awesome. Just what I like to see. Awesome. Now I'm wondering if I can mess up text. I gotta wonder what is RAM being used for, if for anything. No, not for that. Not for text. Alright. Let's further change Fever Dream. We're now going to select the other half of Fever Dream. Is that one I wrote down before? It's going to be... I should really learn how to use the bus layer generator. I think that would be a lot faster than having to type this down. CF6 3E to WRAM setting easy. WRAM single intensity nightmare blast send open up dummy adjust values CF6 3E. Okay, so this is the effect we're looking for. Let's see what else we can do to it. We're going to try adjusting the parameter value by 1. So load corruption, parameter value increased by 1. Increased by 3. No effect that I can see. Let's try to switch it to FF. That's actually okay, surprisingly. It still rolls over. Let's try 0. Still skips. I wonder why a max value would do that. The 0 keeps our effect. Let's try messing around with the source address, just seeing what's around this area. We're going to increase it by 1 in just a moment. Normal corruption, increased by 1. Goes the other way. It's an interesting sound effect still. You got like a dragon roar at the beginning there. Let's hear that again. Or like a metal chair being pulled out of the way. CF5. CF5 is normal, surprisingly. CF4, still normal. So CF6 is our original. CF7 has an interesting effect. Let's try CF8. No. Alright, so I don't know what parameters being stored there, what's happening there. I don't really want to keep it in its natural form because there's nothing really too interesting to me, from it to me. Like this one might be interesting. I'm going to try switching parameter values again, switch it to 5. Yeah, same effect. I don't necessarily want to keep that. I think we just keep Fever Dream as is and don't worry about this one. We're going to start messing with maybe this one here, because I'm curious what we can get out of it. So it is 710 intensity large. Start breaking it down. My laptop's starting to protest. I have soda to keep myself awake because it is late. Kind of late. I should be getting to sleep earlier, but I haven't been. I start classes in like 4 days. That's plenty of time to fix your sleep cycle. So I'm not seeing anything else arise. I was hoping by sanitizing it a bit, we might be able to see some different visuals going on. Maybe this is a culmination of a bunch of visuals together, but it seems like maybe it's just one memory write that's doing this. On the bright side, I'm curious what happens if we change the parameter value that causes this. Hopefully we'll have a more dramatic effect, or we'll have just a different effect that looks better. We'll see. Yeah, actually it's like one memory write, that's insane. So it is this one here. Setting WRAM 13829 with the value of 2B makes this effect happen. Oh no, I'm sorry. Setting 124C with the value 37 makes this effect happen. Whew, it's late. So, let's take a look at this and try messing with it. First thing we're going to mess with is the parameter value. I'm just going to manually edit this out or mess with it. Right now we have, what's the value? 37. Just so I don't forget it. We're going to adjust it to 50. Actually, 37, we're going to throw it on the stash as is so I don't forget where it is or don't lose the value. And now we're going to adjust it to 50. No effect. Okay. So you'll notice, I mean, by manually I'm entering these values and I'm changing them around. Originally it was 37 in hexadecimal. And I could keep doing it this way, but sometimes I'm not random enough in order to generate, you know, good lists of just values to try. Or I'm, you know, kind of limited to just knowing, you know, try 0, try FF, try max and lens. FF breaks it, the 0 probably does nothing. No, 0 breaks it too. But currently we have it in our stash history with 37. What we can do is we can utilize a button that isn't on screen, and I don't know why I haven't put it there yet, I need to. It's called Reroll Selected, where you have a selected item and you re-roll the memory address, or the parameter value that you send to the source address. So the source address that this is all happening at is 124C. That will not change, but the value that we're sending to that memory address will change. And it's a quick way just to try a bunch of values to see if you're going to get a different result out of changing the parameter value without spending a lot of time guessing the limits and learning about the ROM that I don't really care about what's happening here. I just want to test a bunch of random stuff. I don't want to spend a long time learning about what specific values will create this effect. So we're going to do that. I'm going to unpause it. And we're going to re-roll a bunch of times. Like, right there. That's an awesome effect. Not something I want to keep, but it looks pretty. Look at that. That's awesome. We're going to keep rolling it. It's a cool sounding one. Another one of those. See, we're getting a lot of the same ones, and we wouldn't have known that if we were just guessing checking. Probably not. Surprisingly, we're just actually getting 2 of the same ones and nothing else. Okay, that was actually normal. So, I'm glad we tested this out because now there's no uncertainty to what this was. I know that it's either like that for this first effect, the maybe one, this effect, wherever it stops, or one of these other 2 ones, so like this one or whatever that other one was, this one. And it's about the extent of it, and we can spend all day here trying different values, but excuse me, that's probably all we're gonna get. So we'll leave that be. I'm gonna clear the history. I'm going to delete maybe, because I don't really want it there. And we're gonna start now with a fresh corruption. Took us a while. We have an intensity of 1 right now, which is way too low to see anything happen. We're gonna up our intensity up to 1,000 since that was a decent number. And we're gonna keep rolling until we find something we like. That's kind of cool. Unfortunately, I'm gonna keep following dead ends like this, I think, but that just looked neat when it crashed. I'm curious if we can stop it from crashing. That's pretty. That's cool sounding, but is this something we want to throw in a stockpile? Not necessarily. I am indecisive. In the other half, we have nothing. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep it. No, I like that. That looks awesome. If we can keep something that looks like that in the end, I'd be very happy, and if it didn't crash. Okay. Good, good. Keep doing that. Once again, seizure warning for the entire stream. I think it's no matter what gonna crash, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm curious what happens if we re-roll though, so what else can we get out of that? It's cool looking effects, but then you see it in a stockpile and you're like, okay, whatever, it's just some buildings. Okay, single memory, right? We're gonna throw it on the stash, and from the stash we're gonna re-roll it. Here's the re-roll results. A couple times over, not seeing anything else, it's just that one effect. Since we have such a small stash already, we'll throw it on there, we'll call it Arts. We'll call it Pixel Town, I guess. I feel ashamed having that one on there. Oh well. It looks neat, so I'm happy with it. Let's start fresh. Class target. I'll stop chasing the visual ones, and I will not chase that one, even though I want to. This reminds me of like Bryce Fields, or like... What was that? That actually scared me. I was like very intently looking at the lines. I actually expect to be jump scared. What do we do with this? Do we re-roll it to see if we can just get an effect off the back before we sanitize it? If we do sanitize it, we'll probably miss this effect, and we have to wait like 10 seconds to even see this effect. We'll try re-rolling it. That is some garbage. Look at that. Some hot garbage. Okay, very sadly, nothing I don't think I want to keep. Which hurts me to say that, because I liked this one, and yeah, I like that it jump scared me. I'm gonna make a mark at least. But unfortunately, nothing I want to keep. We'll do this. And we'll move on. Some people don't like Clown Vomit. I really like Clown Vomit. It's beautiful. I get happy when I see it. Because it just means you messed it up beyond repair. Ah, that last one had something. And this one does too. It's a little bit of music, I believe. What this last one? It's like a cathedral at a net. Cathedral? It's like a, not a cathedral. What am I thinking of? Organ. It's like a really dramatic opening. Let's keep it. I kind of like it. It's a really dramatic opening, and it's kind of slow too. Hopefully we don't mess it up by trying to sanitize it. Oh, I think we might. Like, I think that screen disappeared, and instead it was just one small town, no net. It's okay. Takes a second for the music to catch up, which is interesting, I guess. Maybe it has a little bit of, well, no, it like stutters, the game stutters. Don't know why that is. It almost sounds actually plays the cracked audio there for a second and then it freezes and jumps to the other one. I'm curious if we can change the audio by sanitizing it and getting the single memory address. Maybe. That'd be cool. Manipulate what audio gets played in this segment. So we have a single memory address, throw it on the stash, throw it on the stockpile, and we'll call it dramatic opening. And from there we're going to, I need to note that this is a musical corruption. So just music, dramatic opening. Okay. Well, I'd like that it was black between the year and a small town and a net, but we would have to double check every single time to see if that little segment was there. That's too much work to even be bothered with. But we are going to re-roll it. I think it's either there's music or there's no music. We're going to now try manually changing the values. FF. Music is there. 0. Music is not there. So that's about the limitations we can probably have on that. I'm kind of happy with the result. It's decent. And I'm not super impressed with the ones we have yet, but I'm sure the stream is young, so we'll get some new ones. I'm going to switch over to, well, we're still on WRAM. So currently the bytes that we're attacking, so say you have a random source address, and at that source address we're overriding it with a random value between 0 and FF as defined by these parameter values here. We can adjust those manually, and we can say, between 0 and F, or 0 and 9, or whatever like that, just to sort of switch up our corruptions, but right now, it is as random as we can have it. Instead, I'd like to try tilt values. So, at a given source address, take the value that's already at that source address, and either increment it or decrement it. And we're going to see if that has any better results, and we're also going to try that with a bunch of the other memory domains, starting off just with WRAM. That's already kind of a cool effect. And it actually runs, so usually I find that these are more stable. While it does run, it doesn't do anything else. We're going to try it again. I'm also curious if this last one here, if we can re-roll it. See if it would run. No, just different sounds. Alright, new fresh one. I think that plays a little bit later. The camera had to catch up to the position it was supposed to be at. We're going to try upping the intensity since these are a little more stable. We don't crash as often, which is nice. We're going to bring it up to 3,000. There's that chair again. I don't know what that is. Reroll. Or a new target. That's cool looking. Did you do anything else though? I know it's still running. Nah, nada. That's a cool effect. Now, if we sanitize this, I'm hoping the visuals will come back and be nice looking. So we could just flip the, whatever that is, like the buildings behind. Also, I was curious if this did anything. Nope, Cloud Vomit. I love Cloud Vomit. It's so terrible. We're going to open this one in the Blast Editor because this is sort of an interesting looking effect. So let's see if we can sanitize it down. Now, unfortunately, we do have 3,000 memory writes, which is a lot more than 1,000, but luckily, with 50%, it comes out to a little bit less than before. I mean, it's a little bit more, but it doesn't take as many, it only adds like 1 or 2 more iteration steps. So, immediately, yes, we do have a better look at things, and if we switch to the other 50%, make sure we're not missing out on anything, nope, just darkness. So, we're going to now save this one. I don't believe we want this. I think we want the other half. Oh. So there are multiple corruptions that are going on where there needs to be 5 or 6 in order for the effect to happen, it looks like. Which sometimes can be kind of disappointing, you know, if we don't get it right away. So we try enabling everything. Yes, we still have the effect when we enable everything. We just have to kind of get lucky, I think. We're gonna try it again. Not there. There it is. I just wanted to try to bring the blast layer size down if I can. There we go, that's something. Fortunately, I don't think it's going to be as clean as I thought, where like the entire assets are going to be, you know, still built together and just flying by. If I see him stagnant, then I think I'm just gonna re-roll for it. Down to 24. 12. 6. 3. That might be a single memory, right? I'm pretty happy about that if it is. We just got kind of unlucky too many times around. So these two together, they're okay. That's funny. So 50%, if you like only take half of this, you only take this one, everything looks normal. There's nothing wrong with this corruption. It actually works fine. But combine that with this one, where stuff is just frozen in place. For some reason, the two of them together blows this out of proportion. I don't know why. Maybe those objects are being controlled by the camera and the camera's trying to move, but it's not actually moving location. I have no clue what's going on here. That's just a guess. Either way, very happy with the results. That looks amazing. I'm going to send this to the stash so we have a perfect copy of it. I'm going to throw it on the stockpile as is. We'll say O-nets, which is 2 N's, correct? O-nets. No, 1 N, 2 T's. Got it. O-nets. Hurricane. That's what we're going to say there, because it reminds me of a hurricane blowing through O-nets, more or less. And now we're going to open this in our blast editor. And so since we're just doing incrementing or decrementing values, we only see subtract 1 twice over. We can actually still adjust these values, no problem. So what if we subtracted 2 from this one? And subtracted 2 from this one. Curious if that changes anything. Doesn't look like it. We can't rely on re-rolling this time around because since we're only tilting values, well, no, I'm curious. No, I don't think so. Let me check. Tilt, random, I haven't tried this yet. And re-roll, check the new result, open. Yeah, so it's either adding or subtracting a value of 1 or 0 or whatever. So this is adding 1. It does look like there's a train there. It won't change the parameter value by a large amount like it does for random data types. It's only going to be adding or subtracting. That's the only thing that's going to be changing here is the blast unit mode. So we have to now manually change these values. Like say, I need to do FF for one of these. That seems to control the speed. If I do 0, like both the speed, nothing. Oh, that's right, that's the normal camera, so we have to at least have 1. Oh, and that's why subtracting it makes it go so fast, because, you know, FF is the slowest. If we add 255 to this value, maybe it's how fast it moves. Adding it makes it go extremely slow, but if we subtract, if I spelled that right, if I want, it won't run, a value of FF. Nope, I did not spell that right. It's like subtract, isn't it? Subtract. Oh, I hate the fact that I can't spell subtract. Let's see. Oh, that's right, because it's actually not subtract. It's not like the normal subtracts, it's subtract. There we go. I'm just sad I can't spell. Subtract. Yeah, that's correct. Huh. Am I doing this correctly? It's usually the value of 1. Let me open this guy up again. Without the reroll, which is the ONET Hurricane. Subtract. Ah. Okay, well anyway, subtract. I can't spell. When you subtract the value of 1, then stuff goes very fast. If we subtract the value of FF, it will go extremely fast. No? Well, yeah. Can't tell if that's any faster than just 1. No, it doesn't appear to be. Okay, well, subtracting or adding different effects. If that's FF, select space. So there's not much else we can change, that's about it. And if we reroll once again, same kind of deal. No matter what, we reroll it too. So let's leave this be. We're gonna go back to tilt types. We're going to blast send. We'll do a fresh one now. Huh. Blast send. I like that you can still see police. Like it's kind of graffitied in there. It's nice looking. Ooh. If only I did other things. Like, that's cool how the police station turns red, but do more stuff. There we go. Don't do those things, though. Don't do that thing. Can we try fixing this? It appears it's just that one scene. Would it be worth it doing Hell Genie? No, I don't think it's gonna be worth that. Let's keep moving. That's also a cool one. I like the coloration ones, I love shadows. Okay, I think we've done a good... That's cool sounding. I think we've done a good extent of WRAM. We're not gonna mess with cart RAM. Cart RAM has no effect. VRAM we're not gonna do. OEM has no effect. CG RAM we can try messing with, but I don't think we're gonna get anything good out of that. It's just some colored city on one fashion or another. APU RAM is just gonna crash the audio, no matter what we do. We can try bringing the intensity down to like 5. And give that a couple goes. Oh, I accidentally killed it. Oops. There we go. Or did I? Did it actually die? It actually died. How about that? I'm gonna save the stockpile real quick. Make sure we don't lose that. Earthbound stockpile. It gives you a real quick, like, emergency save as, in case everything breaks. Now looks like we're good to go again. So this is supposed to be corrupting audio. We'll try an intensity of 20. No. Intensity of 50. We are still using tilt types So that's actually a little bit safer, so we can maybe safely corrupt up to like 200. Because we're not... Is that normal? Yeah, that's normal. We're not replacing random data types, which really messes with the music. Instead, we're just hardly adjusting the tilt types for the music. Also, we're doing visuals? That's not right. Oh, because everything's selected, that's why. We're just going to do APU RAM. So let's try that again. The buzzing's kind of louder. Some phaser effects. Let's try intensity of 500. I don't know what's up with the slowdown. Did I actually hit a button for that? Speed. I did. There we go. Oof. God, like a gunshot in my ear. Yeah, not really anything I might want to keep. Just to try it, I'm going to try intensity of 2000. That might be too much to do. Yeah, it's too much. Okay. So APU RAM, nothing there. We're going to do system bus now, which we know has interesting results, but also unpredictable results, so let's give that a go. Right now we have an intensity of 100 because I want to keep it safe for the first couple ones. Looks like we are good to go though. Let's try 500. I think about in the 1000 range we'll start seeing some interesting things. Nothing thus far. Oh, we are using tilt types. I'm going to switch that over to random because that will probably be much better. There's a crash. Second one. Third one. That's a cool one. No, Flynn. If only it persisted. God. Reroll. Just a slightly different sound. We're gonna move on. Should we up our intensity to 1000? I think we should. I'm going to up our intensity to 1000. There's a lot of crashes there. Not much. A lot of crashes. They're not interesting crashes either. I want an interesting crash like that one. That was a good crash. But they're just kind of soft locked. Soft locked? That's not the right word for it. I don't know what's with like going off the screen and then sound effects just playing. I don't know what's up with that. Cool sounding though. Should we save this one? We have already. Fever Dream does this. Oh, it goes on. Or does it? Does it just stay there? I'm turboing. Yeah, it just crashes there. I'm not interested in it. Let's do just tilt types now. So we could probably raise the intensity up to 3000. because it's safe to do so. It looks like vomit, and it crashes like vomit. I want to keep it, but there's nothing interesting about it. I think it's almost time we got into gameplay because we're running out of stuff to do in this little intro part. There's our shinies again. There's this again, but now it's colored. If we can get that to stay, like Hell Genie, that'd be a cool effect. I dig that. Oh, it crashes there though. Let's try sanitizing that. That was much better than the other one. So, what we're looking for is camera shake and coloration. Two things. Coloration might be hard to keep. No, it's not, because there it is. And I guess in the other 50%, we're going to find the camera shake. That's the case. So let's try finding both of those in the same set. One but not the other. Steam, stop telling me about my friends playing Stellaris. Cool, there we go. That's both. There's both. Oop. Getting kind of lucky with the randomness for these rerolls up. Knock on wood. Actually, I hit delete when I didn't mean to hit delete. I gotta restart. Shoot. Okay, from the top. Having 3,000 is kind of a lot of memory rights. I was just having this many. Here we go. Nearly there. Three left. Now we can just manually add them in. And there we go. Those are our 2 memory rights. Throw them on the stash. And from the stash, did we do that properly? Yeah. Throw it on the stockpile. And we're not going to do that yet, actually. Well, actually, yeah. Because it does seem to work alright, so unfortunately the color doesn't stay. I really wish the color would stay. I don't think we can do that with Help Genie either. Just because of the weights. Oh, we might be able to. So which one is the color? That one's the color. Top one, I'm going to write down these just so I don't forget what they are. So we do a byte, subtract. Well, I'm going to write down how to write there, subtract. Subtract. System bus. Wow, source address 3F0030. Parameter value 1. Now we're going to change this to a blast cheat type. But the blast cheat won't work. I need to know what the original data type was. Can I see that in some kind of log? Can I pull that? I might be able to pull that. Let me actually do that. Because let's do that. So we're going to keep it as a blast byte. But I'm going to poke around. I should be able to. Let me load it. I messed that up. I'm going to load it like this. The original. And I'm going to pause the game. So I should be able to, within, this is BizHawks, I should be able to find somewhere in, I think, tools, we can pull up Not hex editor, not trace logger, not debugger, code data logger. Yeah, this is. I don't know what that is. No. RAM search, RAM watch. RAM watch? No. Right? No. Let me try that. Address. Just copy this one over. I know you guys can't see this, unfortunately, but I wish you could. I don't want to copy it though. So right now it seems to be a parameter value of 0. Oh, it does change. Okay, cool. But then it resets to 0 again. So it's set to 0. Did we subtract it and it became a -1 value?
Can I change it here? I can't.
So what if we force it to be -1 with the held GP? So what I'm seeing is it changes multiple times, and it changes between a bunch of different values. But I think when we're seeing the scene that we're looking at, it's currently 0, and I don't know if it's 0. It's permanently 0. It doesn't seem to be the case because right now it's also 0, and the effect we're looking for isn't there. So I'm thinking the subtract 1 goes through, and it becomes a -1 value. How do we set a -1 the value though? It's probably an overflow, so it's 255. So what if we do blast cheats and do the value FF for 255? Save changes to CDL. No. Okay, let's do this again. Keeps asking if I want to save changes to my CDL session. I don't even know. I don't have a CDL session open. Okay, so we'll see if this stays. Currently, it actually looks correct, but we froze it? We don't see the shake effect. That's interesting. We did keep the effects, but the shake is, well, yeah, the shake's still there too. Huh. Wow, I can't believe we did that right. It's supposed to be changing to black here, so I think it changed the value of like 8 or something like that, but we're forcing it to stay 255 no matter what, so we don't let it change. Is that the meteor, by the way? No. I don't know what that is. That's his house. That's not right. Let's fast forward. Do we keep this? So the reason why this is cool is because it's not a palette swap. It's not a simple color change to visual memory. It's some kind of like visual change. It's some kind of system level function that changes the color on screen. There's a door here somewhere, right? Yeah, there's a door. That's awesome. Unfortunately, I think we're stuck there. So that's why it's cool. Do we want to keep it just because of that reason? Absolutely. Are other people going to understand that? Definitely not. But we're going to send it to the stash anyways, and we're going to throw it on the stockpile. We will call this... I don't even name this. How about... Now I guess, no, let's spell meteor. Meteor. That sounds right? Yeah. There's a lot more than just a meteor crashing. That's what I'm going to say for that, I guess. Also, look at the face in the window. That's not a window, is it? That's a painting. Why? It keeps asking if I want to save CDL sessions. I don't know why that is. I opened CDL temporarily, but I closed it down. That was the code data logger. File, don't autosave, don't auto start, clear, exit, no. Restart. Ah, stop asking for autosave. Okay, now we actually might be good. Yes, no more CDL. Awesome. No California driver's license or the ability to drive a big rig. Onet Hurricane. Not playable, just visual. Dramatic opening. Music added to intro. Pixel Town. Not playable, just interesting. Just interesting to look at. Okay. And then there's a lot more than a meteor crash. Graphics. There's something with graphics. System. Health system. Graphics handler of sorts. I don't know what I'm talking about at all. How about system graphics corrupted through handler? That's how you spell handler. Handler. Without the second E. Handler. Cool. Awesome. Now we're going to quit history and mess around with what value we send to that graphics thing. Right now it's FF. Let's try. That's an overflow value. So if we set it to, 0 is natural. This is what it should be. It should work properly, or the graphics should be proper. And it is. What if we set it to 1? 1 is black. I think 8 is black as well. No, actually. Wow. Huh. That's a cool look, actually. How about we set the value 50? Or 50, not 50. 50. How about 60? Is that half the screen is black? No, it's not. Oh, just a red police station though. Jesus. 70. 0. A4. A8. F0. F5. D5. I'm just guessing checking. C1. C4. 8-8. 4-4. 4-4 is actually normal, surprisingly. 5-5. 5F. F5. Okay, we're not doing this anymore. I'm happy with the one we got, because it's kind of night vibe-ish, retro vibe-ish. That's good enough for me. Alright. And I don't think re-rolling will do anything. Oh yeah, okay, cool. So that actually affects the LGD value. Good, that's awesome. So what we can do is we can still mess with this. I think if I could lock this value, it doesn't allow us to change it, hopefully. So if we re-roll, we're only affecting the graphics and not the shake. Yeah. God, some of these are actually kind of neat. Oh, a good Halloween one. One of these were a decent one. Not that, but I want that red house with this red house. I would be so happy if I had those two put together. How about we call this... What was that Earthbound Halloween mod called that Toby Fox worked on? It's just a Halloween hack, is that what it was called? Yeah, Halloween hack. Earthbound Halloween hack beta. How about that? You get the graphics down, but that was about it. It's still the base game. Not sponsored. Sponsored by Tippy Fox. Okay. Clear history. We're gonna do a fresh one now. More system bus corruptions. Ooh. Lots of flashing. Lots and lots of flashing. That's kind of neat. Can we keep that? What is that? It was after a couple seconds, right? Yeah, it just got to a point and all kind of... It looks like a bunch of smiley faces. If you look at it really close. So I think I've been doing this for too long. Let's try re-rolling it. Still in the same place. Another re-roll. Oh, that's right. These are tilt values, so it's no surprise that they're the same value, or the same effect. Yeah, that's a screen. I love these screens because you never get to see them. This game pack is not designed for your Super Famicom or Super NES. Surprise, surprise, Nintendo Co. The data was so unreadable that the system itself couldn't read it. That's awesome. Cool. We don't get that very often anymore. And again, and again. And blast target. Like a little, it's not an Easter egg at all, but it's like a little gift for corrupting just the right way. Look at those pink lines. Corrupting not just the right way, I guess it's just like, oh Jesus. There's some graphics I want to see there, but it goes away too fast. I want to keep that one. It doesn't want me to keep it though. Oh well, we'll move on. That's cool, it's like a cross section moving upwards. That's also in the wrong place. And there's no more graphics. I think it's time we start corrupting gameplay. Because it has been so long. We've been doing this for too long, this street view, and it's not even the game yet. So, let's hop in. Let's load our save state. We're going to corrupt right here. Because I like the dark room. Even though the light is awesome, but we're gonna start corrupting here. And should we do system bus off the bat? Probably not. We should start messing with WRAM. Even though that's a cool looking scene. So we're gonna select WRAM in our memory domains. Still using the Nightmare Engine. Something we didn't try was system bus with LGenie and all that. But I think we'll get better results here anyways. Nightmare Engine, we're gonna bring the intensity back down to 500. 500. Also, you hear that? They're running so slowly. Anyways, that's all good to go. We're gonna start blasting target. After we clear history, let's do that. Oh, I wanted to pick up the little thing in front of me, but then it all it all glitched out. 500 might be a little much. That's very enlightening, or very, like, calming. And police sirens are in the background. Oh, if only there's a little bit of red. But that's alright. We'll knock it down to 300 and start blasting the target some more. Kind of odd bus corruption, or bed corruption there, but seems to be okay. Oh, we're injecting code, that's why. We're not running code. The auditory corruptions are an odd thing that keeps happening. I don't know why that is. Like the crackling sound. It sounds like we're corrupting the sound card. What is this? Nest gain 0 XP! Yes! Oh god. Everything's okay. He just lives in a terrible room of nightmares. Only when he wakes up, though. Nest gain 0 XP. That's great. We can try to keep that effect, that coloration effect. It's only the system bus, so it's not terribly interesting. Let's try re-rolling this, though. Maybe? Should we sanitize it? Nah. We're just gonna re-roll it. Funnily enough, it's... everything's the same or nothing's the same. Always 0 XP. Yeah. Okay, let's start fresh now. For some reason my rerolls aren't automatically being selected. I'm not sure why that is. Huh. Anyway. We're gonna blast the ROM with some fresh ones. Very ominous. Oh, the last one. Does anyone know Morse code in chat? Really fast Morse code that's probably unreadable. What is that garbage at the top? Wait, let's go back to that one. So I hadn't considered moving yet. Probably should have tried moving. It's not a bad idea. Because that's cool. Let's try to get to the doorway. Here's the doorway. I think that would be... it's the same corruption, I'm pretty sure. No problem here? I beg to differ, Ness. I think there's a big problem here. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna let you tell me that. Okay, everything seems to be normal once he leaves his room. Do that one more time. Oh, so those were 2 separate corruptions. Okay, I thought that was the same one. Shoot, that would have been very interesting. Which one was the good one, though? Not that one. Not that one. This one was. Okay. We're going to sanitize this one in our blast editor. It's a little tricky to tell if we have the corruption persisting because we have to walk in order to check it. But I think the graphic at the top, if that's there, then we're probably greenlit. Yeah, I'm going to rely on that as a visual indicator. Okay, nearly done here. We're down to 9. Down to 4. 2. And 1. Send it to the stash. throw it on the stockpile, and we'll call it Ness enters the 5th dimension. But there's a problem with this one. It's that as soon as you... Also, that's probably not how you spell dimension. Dimension. Yeah. The problem with this one, which we're actually going to fix now, is that the effect is not permanent. And that always sucks with stuff like this, because you want to be able to walk anywhere with this effect going on. So as soon as we get to the doorway, right there, it looks like for the most part, stuff is still, you know, I actually don't know what's going on. I was going to use the cheat engine. Set this to blast cheat. But I might not need to. So here's splash cheat. Yeah, I don't think I need to. We'll keep it at blast fight. Setting, right? Or setting. Yeah. And we already have it on the stash, so we're good to go. Let's try re-rolling the value. This one actually eliminates that green at the top. I don't know necessarily if I want that or not. So I might... I think I would like to remove that. So let's throw this new one on the top. We'll call it Ness enters the 5th dimension. And delete the old one. There we go. And re-roll this one again. See if we can get any other effects out of it. Probably not, but worth a try. Odd sound corruption there. You know, the sound corruption kind of adds to it. Like, it just sounds weird. You're in a weird place. You're between two rooms in this case. Let's throw this one on instead. Ness enters the 5th dimension. That's why it's useful to rerolls. You just find more and more stuff. Okay. I think we'll stop it there though. So let's do a fresh corruption now. There's some visuals on top breaking. For some reason, let's see here. Okay. Other than this one, I'm not seeing anything. So I think, let's try corrupting in a different fashion now. So right now we're doing random data types. We're going to switch to tilt types once again, in which case we're going to bring the intensity up to 1,000 or so. And try corrupting it in this fashion. Nice auditory one again. Kind of relaxing. Ooh, other than me slamming my foot into a desk. And the police sirens in the background. That's just creepy. Everything okay? So this one crashes. I kind of want to keep that. And say they're outside the room. Oh, I kind of stopped doing that. Let's do that. Okay, there we go. We have a single memory right now. Right there. And with that, we are going to send that to our stash, throw it on the stockpile. And we'll call it. Can we move? That's my question. We can! Okay. They're outside. Period. A reroll, this will be adding one instead. No change to the effect. Let's do a fresh one. Okay. SNES's face is a little smashed. Ness's face is a little smashed. Man, it's getting late for me. It's almost midnight. Alright, I'm gonna call it here soon. Do we want to keep this one? His face is definitely like smashed. Let's save this one and then we'll call it for a night. I'm gonna do more Earthbound later though. There's a lot to this, but it takes a while to pull out a corruption, unfortunately. They're not, quick. Where I can pull out 50 in no time. Curious if we re-roll this, we can affect the intensity that his face is flattened. I hope we can. This is subtracting, but we're gonna manually change the value that we're subtracting. Let's try 5. Oh, so it's only where his head's positioned, so it's not that interesting. He's just justified. So there's one. What if you like B? We'll just be really far away. Yeah. Alright. 1. Send to stash. We'll call it Justifiedness. I don't know why I capitalized his name like that. And spelled it incorrectly. Justifiedness. Okay. I think that's good for now. We're gonna leave it there for the time being. Let me switch scenes here and pull up some music for us. Not terrible, that music. Let's do... I really want to do Donkey Kong commentary, but every time I do that I get a copyright claim, so let's not do that. Let's do... Well, any Nintendo music I do. We'll do Animal Crossing, even though we're gonna get claimed for it anyways. How about The Roost? There we go, that's nice. So that's Earthbound. I had some new viewers drop on by. Don't think I recognize any of you guys, but thank you for stopping by. For those of you who did, feel free to say hello. I don't mind chatting while I'm doing this. This is what I do usually all the time for streams, is I corrupt live on stream. This was with the real-time corruptor version 3.28. I'm used to 3.26 and 3.27b, but I'm doing it with the new version just to be up to date. I know 4.0 is coming out soon. I'm very excited for that change. I'm actually looking at gotta talk to the group to see if I can beta test on stream. Test on stream? I guess it's not really beta. Anyway, very exciting stuff. We have a very small stockpile, and I've been sort of changing gears for what I've been doing with stockpiles. Currently, I've been uploading them to Google Drive after every stream, and if my viewers wanted to download them, they could feel free. But unfortunately, I don't think any of them actually have been downloaded. I have bit.ly links on all of them, and I haven't seen any use for them, so I don't know if they're not really being downloaded at the moment, I don't know, it's kind of a lot of effort to go through to upload them. So I guess for the time being, I'm just gonna hold on to them. Something I liked that I did was at the end of 2018, I did sort of a culmination of all of my stockpiles, and I put them into just one mega stockpile, and I'm having it reviewed by some people and sending it off to people who stream with it. So I'm excited about that. And that may be my format for going forward. Maybe I'll do a monthly stockpile. Maybe I'll do a big one at the end of the year. I haven't decided yet, but either way, those are my plans. I'm still sort of throwing them at the wall at the moment. We'll see how they change in the future. In terms of streaming tomorrow, I will be streaming tomorrow. I stream every day if I can. Whether I'm doing, I don't think I'll be doing Earthbound again. I'm going to give this a break for a little while and then come back to it. But I'm not sure what I am doing. The two games that I've been doing sort of off as like relaxing games to play are Subnautica and Stalker. I'd like to do some more Stalker. I'll see if I can pop that out tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know if I'll do it in place of Corruption stream. Let's try to knock out a quick half an hour one. But yeah, that was the stream. Let's find someone to host in Retro. This usually takes me a minute too, so I apologize about that. I'm so glad there's been so many new people in Retro. It's fantastic. Lots and lots of new people. I imagine maybe it was a New Year's resolution. Maybe people got new systems for the new year. Anyways, we'll find someone to host here. I am indecisive. Oh, Sabitonic is doing some Frogger. I'm gonna host that guy after a little bit. Oh, Sky Coasterman's on too. Man, everyone is on tonight. That is awesome. I like hosting new people, but man, I want to host the two of them. Especially I haven't shown any love to Sky Coasterman in a while. I'm gonna host this guy. If you're not familiar with Sky Coasterman, he's a guy who does these awesome old retro streams, does it on old school hardware, and is a hilarious dude, so I recommend him. We're gonna host him now. Thank you for everyone who was able to stop by tonight, and I'll see you in the next one.